then the other piece too, what you'll see is the impact of all of these things coming together is that software-defined networking as an industry is going to emerge. And the dollars associated with buying software-defined networking products will be about $2 billion in revenue by 2016. So it really is a change, and it really creates a new emerging market within networking that we're very excited about, and frankly, that we know we're going to lead. Just to set the stage a bit more, the Open Networking Foundation, which of course we are a founding member of, has put a definition around what SDN is, so that we can help you understand it. So very quickly, what it basically says is, in the SDN architecture, the control and data planes are decoupled. That's a big deal. That is very different from the past, where essentially the way you would control a network device is you literally would walk over to it, you would use its command line interface, you would put commands in that switch, and you would make changes to that direct switch, one at a time. Okay, so what it's saying first is the control of those switches in the infrastructure will be separated from the switching fabric itself. So that's one piece. The other is it will have to have network intelligence and state that's logically centrally located, meaning that the understanding of what's going on in that network will be separated and put in a single place where you then can control that network appropriately. So that's also very different, because today you cannot control a network centrally. You literally, as I said, go device by device to make those control changes. And finally, it is separated from the underlying network infrastructure that's abstracted from the applications. So when you're deploying those applications, using that single point of control, you can optimize that network as you need to. You can re-provision it, you can change it to make sure it's suited for the application or the user base that is then going to be deployed in that infrastructure. So that's the Open Networking Foundation description of, or definition of, software-defined networking. So from our perspective, we completely agree. And we really think what SDN is all about is applying business logic to the network. Taking what you need to do from a business perspective and then making the network do what you would like it to in order to meet your business needs. And essentially what that means first at the infrastructure layer is you need to have an open, standards-based access to that infrastructure. As you recall, we have been able to open flow on all of our switches, on our 16 product lines of switches today within HP Networking. And we will be adding more, and I'll talk a bit about that. But first, you have to have that open standards programmatic way to get into those switches and enable them. You have to separate that control plane from the data plane, as we said. And you have to deliver programmable open interfaces, not proprietary interfaces, okay, in order to add business applications on top of that control plane. What it is not, just to be clear, it's not only implementing network functions in software or on a virtual machine. So I know you have seen many things about network virtualization using tunneling across the network. Okay, meaning host-to-host tunneling, from server-to-server tunneling. And as much as that's one thing, one application you can use for a software-defined network, that is not the totality of what a software-defined network is. It is an application. So that is one thing you can do. It is not the only thing you should do with a software-defined network. It's not about programmable proprietary APIs on the network device itself. So you've probably seen from our largest competitor that what they're offering is a way to program the operating system on a switch, on a single switch. And actually that's kind of in opposition of what SDN stands for, right? Because SDN is all about a single point of control to enable many, many, many switches programmatically. And by just literally allowing customers to go in and program an operating system on a single device, think about how many devices will then even be more different than the other ones in order to try to manage and control them. It will make it more difficult, not less. It will make it more complex. not less. So that's not SDN. And it is not the end of hardware innovation either. The hardware itself needs to be able to have some level of intelligence to then apply that knowledge from the control point into the infrastructure. And so we are developing lots of capabilities within our hardware to ensure that it works with the paradigm of software-defined networking, having that control point in the network manage all of those switches. So that's what it's not, just to be clear. So it's really important to note that there's high value in creating applications for our customer base, because just developing the controller won't help them as much as it would adding those application capabilities on top of it, because they want to deploy within their business environment. They want to have the right application to do that. This is a very big announcement for HP. It's a big announcement in the industry. We don't think there is any other single competitor who has what we're offering today, and they certainly don't have it at the scale that HP offers it, with all of the capabilities with the products as well as the services, which we'll talk about as well.